Did Matoya make an animal noise?
Oh, no, she didn't.
Well, someone has to make an animal noise, so I thought that could be her job.
The most noise she makes is if she starts digging at something she shouldn't be digging at. So.
She just fully melted into the anti-fatigue foot mat.
Oh yeah, she's just laying here. Okay.
Aww.
She's not making any noise.
She's so sweet.
Hello, and welcome to episode 167 of Rhythm Encounter, the RPG fan music podcast. That was a different inflection than I intended, but I'm going to keep it in there. I am your host, Mike Salbato, and we are here today to do another composer spotlight. It's been a little bit, so looking forward to getting into that. But before we talk about all of that, I need to introduce my wonderful panel, starting with Hilary.
Hello.
Hello. Pat is here with us.
Hey, let's do this.
And Audra is here as well.
Hiya.
Audra, you and I are going to just sit over here and listen to these other two, I think, for some of these songs. Because every time we have a discussion at the side of people being like, I don't know, I don't have the musical knowledge of Pat or Hilary to come on Rhythm Encounter. One, I agree with them that you two know more than almost anyone else here and are experts, although I still encourage people to come on because you don't have to be an expert.
No.
Either way, I know I'm heaping all these compliments on you. I'm always excited when either of you are on the show, let alone both of you. So thanks for being here.
Thank you. Now the bar is high for the episode.
That was so kind of you to say.
It's true, though. You guys really know your stuff.
Yes, very true.
Well, Hilary does. I try.
Oh, don't you start.
Ooh, I try. I've only written 2,100 music reviews for RPGFan.com.
I should be saying that to you, Pat.
I haven't written... 2,100's the total number.
Oh, sorry. 1,100. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm half. A little over half, yeah.
One person is half of all our music reviews for 26 years.
You're not helping your own case here.
Whoops. My bad.
Anyway, thank you all for being here. I'm sorry if I put you on the spot with that, but whatever. It's just exciting. And Audra agreed with me that you two are great.
Well, I always enjoy being here.
Yeah. So, as I said, we're here to talk about a composer. But before we do that, we have to talk about what we've been listening to. So, what have you all been listening to lately? Hilary apparently does not want to go first. So, Pat, how about you? What's been on your playlist?
I have constantly for the last, I guess it's been a month that it's been out. Chance the Rapper released his first full album in almost a decade. It's called Starline, and I have been anticipating it for a very long time. It is crazy good. It's way better than his last album, which bombed, and I did not like it. So yeah, Chance the Rapper has an album out called Starline. Has a lot to do with Black experience in America, the Black experience in Africa. Chance spent a couple years off and on, sort of living in Ghana from throughout COVID and into 2023. So there's that in there, and he's just an incredible lyricist. So. Lots of Chance the Rapper. And is there anything else? Dance Gavin Dance put out a new single that I've been digging a lot lately. It has a funny music video, and they got George Clinton featured on it, which is amazing.
Wow.
Funk-based George Clinton. Parliament George Clinton. It's kind of a wild combo for a sort of newer screamo emo band to just get a living legend on a song. I can't remember what the song is called. It has a long title, but it's the newest single from them, and it has a really funny animated music video.
Nice.
About cows in space trying to kill us, which is great.
I like the first half of that.
Yeah.
How about you, Audra?
Right now, whenever I hit shuffle, it seems to be that a Kelly Clarkson song pops up. So I guess I'm listening to Kelly Clarkson right now.
All right. Nothing wrong with that.
Shuffle has decided.
Yeah.
Yes, Shuffle has decided.
I'm not sure how much Kelly Clarkson overlaps with most of our listeners' tastes, but I have to admit, like several years ago, I'm not sure what year this album came out, but I ended up being in charge of like putting together some kind of like holiday playlist for like a work party. So it was everything. I grabbed old stuff, new stuff. I'm like, I don't know what this is. I'll grab this and put some stuff together. And somewhere in there, I found like a Christmas album that she did. And I was like, oh no,
yes.
I actually really like this. Way more than I expected to. Yeah.
Oh no, music I enjoy.
I know.
I think that's a lot of people's exposure to Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah. She's surprised me several times.
Good vocals.
Yeah. I can't tell, Hilary, if you want to go last or you don't want to share.
I'm ready unless you want to go first.
No. See, this is... I feel like I keep doing this lately because we've been recording so many episodes back to back. Because my answer last time was Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar is mostly what I've been listening to. And that's still my answer because that episode was recorded like 6 days ago. Although I guess if I want to like somewhat join Audra in Popland, I will say for some reason I only recently listened to Taylor Swift's latest album. So, you know.
Oh my gosh. Can I go back real quick?
No.
No.
We can go back in time.
I realized...
You can revisit.
Okay, can I be annoying? You're like, yes, you are already doing it.
I mean, I guess so.
I just realized I only talked about like popular American music, and I completely skirted over the fact that the Xenosaga piano collection came out from Wayo Records. At least for Kickstarter backers, it's been out for like a week or two now. It's really good.
That's a big one.
I'm so glad to hear that.
A review is incoming at some point. But yeah, it's titled similarly to the Chrono Cross album they did. That was Across the Worlds, and this one's called Across the Cosmos with a K, of course.
Of course.
And it's Benjamin Nuss as before, and so similar vibes. Like if you like the Chrono Cross album, like you're gonna like this one. I was surprised by which songs I liked on it. The Kukai Foundation song, which never really impressed me like in its OST form. It's quite good in the piano collection. It is really good.
I feel like he's one of those performers where I almost expect that because he really takes things and makes them his own. So I never quite know like what I'm going to like the most.
Yeah.
Now he didn't self-arrange all of these. Only 3 of them were him. That song was arranged by Hiroyuki Nakayama, who did the arrangements for all of the piano opera albums. Do you remember those? The 1 through 3, 4 through 6, and 7 through 9 Final Fantasy piano operas. So he did 5 arrangements, and Kokai Foundation was one of the ones he did. And yeah, so it's like Miriam Abenassar and Hiroyuki Nakayama, Benjamin Nuss, and one other arranger, and then Nuss performs it all. And yeah, it's a really solid album. And then they also put a jazz mini album that they just tacked on because they reached like a stretch goal. So they had this jazz quartet from Germany record 7 tracks that's like 30 minutes long, and that's like just a bonus they threw in. So like it's pretty cool stuff. I'm digging it.
That is cool. Although you shouldn't say too much more, or people won't have to read the review.
Oh, my bad. There's so much more in the review.
I'm sure.
So much more.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm just happy it came out.
Yes.
That leaves Hilary.
Everyone's waiting. As far as I'm concerned, it's fall. It's spooky season. I've been listening to the Over the Garden Wall soundtrack.
Ah, yes.
I love it. And oddly, also some 80s music with various Annie Lennox.
Ooh,
Annie Lennox.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I actually do have one more thing. I'm so glad you mentioned that. I sometimes just rely on like my recently played and my music apps, but this isn't in there because I only listen on Bandcamp so far. But I've been listening a little bit to a band called Prism, which I'm pretty sure Gio introduced me to because they just do like 80s inspired stuff. Some of it's cover and some of it's just 80s style. It's a lot of fun. So I'm gonna have to actually like dig in and listen to even more. But I just
Is
listened
that
to that
Prism
like
with a
days ago.
Z?
Prism with a Z.
I remember him talking about them.
Yeah. And it took me till now to finally like really listen to more than a little bit. But it's fun stuff.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, I think we are definitely due to get into our topic today. So as you can tell by the title, whatever we land on for the title of this, but either way, somewhere in that title, we're going to mention that we are talking about composer Naoshi Mizuta today. I don't know if I've said this on the show before, but this was totally inspired by one of our last composer episodes, because I was like, you know what? I really like Masashi Hamauzu's music, and I do in general. And that episode was fun to put together and listen to and all that. But I had it in my head, was like, I loved his stuff on Final Fantasy 13 too. And it's great. But like, so I learned during that episode, so many of my top picks from that game are actually Mizuta songs. So it's like, as soon as we did that episode, I'm like, well, clearly we have to do another one of these. So I can put this Final Fantasy 13 2 song on that I really want. And whatever the other 7 songs are, we'll figure it out. Because I know he's talented, and he's not someone we spotlight on the show a lot. So I think it'll be good. I know, Pat, you have extensive experience with Final Fantasy 11, so I'm really glad that you're here with us.
Yeah. And I love that, I guess it was the last episode was 14. Like, it was all Final Fantasy 14.
Yep.
And, if there's one thing this composer is known for, he has written the vast majority, right? If we're including all the expansions, he's probably written about 90% of the music for Final Fantasy 11. So we're kind of digging into the older FFMMO, though we are covering plenty more than 11. There's definitely some 11 on here.
There is. And, as a loose rule, I try not to do that too much on the show. Like, I don't want to feature the same thing too often. But in this case, that's so much of his body of work.
Yeah, it's almost 25 years of his work.
Yeah, and there's enough variety that it's okay. And on top of all of that, like, Final Fantasy 11 does not show up in Rhythm Counter much at all. So actually, I have the list up in front of me. 9 times. We've had 9 Final Fantasy 11 songs since the beginning of the show. So yeah, this is a time where I would make an exception.
Yay!
Yeah. So hilariously, we're not talking about Final Fantasy 11 in our first block here. But if we're all ready to go, Audra, do you want to introduce our very interesting first song today?
Oh, sure. The first song is Eternal Winds, The Dead Dunes, English version, from Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13.
All right. And then my song is Noel's theme from Final Fantasy 13 2.
Within the darkness I am blinded by light, a radiance that brings endless night. Now a secret beckons, let it show us the way. Together we will find the break of day. Beneath the fire
Well, actually, Eternal Winds, The Dead Dunes is an interesting song. It's actually Mizuta only did the arrangement for it, and although he also wrote the lyrics too, which I really like the lyric versions. It's based off of a Nobuo Uematsu, a pretty iconic FF3 song. And I really like the instrumentation in this version, and the lyrics just really bring a sense of like it being like a bard song somewhere. It's a really lovely version of the song, I thought. And I like the guitar instrumentation in particular.
I keep picturing like the Wandering Minstrel from 14.
Yes. Or the Spoony Bard from FF16 that they had.
I do think there was something like that in Lightning Returns, although I feel like I never really engaged with that character. So I'm guessing that's where... Well, because like I don't recall hearing this when I played the game, so I do think it is something like that.
I like all my parts equally.
Yeah, he's an NPC in the Dead Dunes region, whatever that city is that like Fang is operating out of, where they're doing like archaeological digs. You encounter this character there, and I think that is how you get access to or will end up hearing this song, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while. Whenever the game came out is when I played it, so... Yeah,
you do have to kind of almost... it's like a hidden area or something, as far as I know.
Oh, yep. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like, I don't know how much I really like the game compared to the others. It's either second or third out of the three for me. But I still played it. Like, I just had this, like, need to complete it. Like I went through enough to like go through and like defeat everything, because the game, for those who don't know, has this really interesting mechanic, since it's meant to be, kind of the end of the world kind of thing, that there are a limited number of enemies, and after you defeat enough of any species, you eventually encounter the last one of that species, and it's stronger, and once it's gone, they're gone. Like, that enemy no longer exists in the world. So like, I went through and did all of that, and dealt with everyone wearing weird fashion items, and saw a bunch of character assassination from people I love from the game before it. But I still enjoyed it. But somehow just never did interact with the bard. So like, this was something I heard years later while listening to the soundtrack. Not even the soundtrack. This is like the plus. This is a soundtrack. Another album.
This is the soundtrack plus.
Yeah.
I think it's on plus because the Japanese, I think is the Japanese version of the song on the base OST, and then plus they put all the English versions on. Or am I wrong?
I don't know, because I don't recall there being an Eternal Winds on the OST at all. But maybe
all the Bard songs are thrown on the plus album.
I think they may have been on the plus one, just because they were like a bonus.
Yeah, kind of a fun aside thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're cool though.
It is cool.
Really
like
neat.
It was a really surprising thing to hear a Final Fantasy III song on here, and I'm pretty sure I don't have it because we don't list bonus tracks in our database, but I think I brought this on as a bonus track many years ago, but we never fully got to talk about it. So I might have said this then, but whatever. The singer here, a Kenneth, I cannot begin to pronounce Kenneth's last name. I'm sorry. But my understanding was not part of the sound team, but he actually worked on, like, he did localization on some of Final Fantasy 14 and 15. So he's a localization person. So I don't know what the discussion was on how they were like, hey, you wanna sing for this? But I don't know. I think that's just kind of an interesting little thing. It's kind of like
that.
It's sort of like 14 because Koji Fox, who used to like run all the localization, is one of the singers in the Primals. So I like this like weird thread of like people in localization also working on music and vocals specifically for Square Enix games.
My theory is they just like go to karaoke bars and someone hears them and they're like, no, you really should record. And they're like, nah. And they're like, no, we need someone and you don't sound half bad. Come along.
We need the English version.
That's my theory, especially for MC Koji Fox. That's my theory for him. How he ended up in the Primals was like they were just, the dev team was out karaoke night and Soken heard him and was just like, you know what? Let's start a band.
I like that idea.
That's my headcanon for how the Primals came to be. But yeah, Kenneth, we can't pronounce your last name. Excellent work. Excellent work.
Yes.
Well, I'm at least going to make sure that he's credited here in our show notes. So, all right.
Yeah, I could not try to attempt.
Yeah,
that
like I just don't
spelling.
want to. I don't want to say it wrong, you know.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Shall we go on to track 2?
It's a good one. Let's do it.
It is the reason that we are here today, at least as far as my end. And like, here's the episode we're going to do. Noel's theme. Noel is one of my favorite characters in that whole trilogy of games. We featured another version. Like, this version has like vocals, but the other version actually has like lyrics.
Right. Koki is like full lyrical English version.
Yeah. So like we featured that one, but a long time ago, and it was only a bonus track too. So overdue as far as I'm concerned, but it's hard to like really like sell the visual of this unless you've played the game or seen the visual, but I'm going to try anyway. But 13.2 is features time travel. So like you are going to like different time periods, some in the past, some like in the near future. And at some point, I mean, you meet Noel early on, but you don't see where he's from until later. But like partway through the game, you go to like this far future where he's from, and it is awful. It's so depressing. But the way they present it is so effective. I mean, everything there is just gray and dead. Like the land is gray, everything's gray, dark. Like there's like really intense shadows, so like you can't even see very far in front of you, except for the sky. The sky is bright, like blood red. So like it really, really, when you get there, you're like, you can't help but be like, wow, this is depressing. And then it plays the other version, but whatever. They're the same theme. But like this theme, having this like really delicate, melancholy but delicate theme playing when there's just like nothing around you. It's just completely desolate outside of 3 people. I don't recall exactly if they're literally the only 3 people left alive, but I think that's the idea. It's just Noel.
I think that's it. Yeah.
It's just Noel and Caius taking care of Yule. And it's like, you know, I'm thinking about it. Like when I was planning this episode, I was like, you know, the whole time period where he's from is just, like I said, there's 3 people. Like everyone else is gone. They only have so much more time, right? And then they're like the last of humanity. So like that should be nothing but depressing. Like you would expect any of those people at that point to just be like, have nothing going except just constant despair. But Noel, being Noel, is like, well, I'm still here. I still have this person, this Yule, who at least in 13.2 is like a sister to him. Like he's very protective of her, and I think it's a really nice relationship that again was ruined in Lightning Returns. But we're not here to talk about that today. But it's so like when you see that side of him, you're like, he's just so, you can't help but like Noel. Like one of the first things you see is him like hunting and defeating a behemoth on his own, because that's dinner. I assume that's dinner for like weeks. But like just that his character theme is like really, I think, reflects like his outlook and stuff in spite of all of his surroundings and his fate. If the world actually had turned out that way, or does turn out that way, but of course that's one of the things you're trying to help prevent. But it's just beautiful. I can't get enough of any version of this song.
I think it's one of those themes where musically it's really impressive how reflective it is of that situation in the game, right? Because musically you've got that really, really delicate melody that could just be sad, but you don't lose that thread of hope in it.
Right.
Along with some really sparse instrumentation that just definitely screams, you know, loneliness, isolation, but it still does have that thread of hope. And it's just really pretty to listen to as well.
And you haven't played 13.2, right?
Mm-mm.
So like you haven't even seen what I just described.
Correct.
Right? Okay. I'm just checking. Like I like that you still got that from the song without that context.
I think melodically this shows, when did this come out? 2010? 2011?
I think
when
so.
Did 13.2?
It might have been 2012.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, when you think about the timeline, not the timeline of the game 13.2, but the timeline of like Naoshi Mizuta's career, the kind of music he's been writing, what projects he's been on, I think 13.2 sort of marks a dramatic shift in his willingness to really go big and go bold with melodies. And I think that was important for 13.2 because there were so many vocal tracks on it. I feel like he kind of came into his own and grew in a big way here. And I'll just one measure, just so like in the vocal version with the lyrics, it's the phrasing of futures I've dreamed. So when you hear it start up, you get da 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 da, and then this measure where it goes da 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 da. There's like 4 things there that are all amazing, right? First is the big jump down, right? That's very dramatic to have that, like you're staying in a high register and you have that little incline on the 3 notes there, and then drop like, I think it's like a 6th maybe. It's close to an octave.
It doesn't sound like quite an octave, but yeah, it's a big jump.
Yeah, it's a Yeah, it's down, and it sounds really good in all versions.
Yes.
Second thing is that delay in the drop, because, okay, if I had written this and I had been like, okay, I'm going to do a drag triplet, right? 3/2. And then on the third beat, that's the next note. So I would have gone da 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 da. But like, and I think there are some orchestral versions that do that. But typically, melodically and vocally, you get dun dun dun, and then it's like an 8th or a 16th, or just a little delay on it. Da 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 da. Like, that is a tasty little delay. That is a nugget of joy. It's so good. And then if you think about from a harmonic or chord progression standpoint, that line is also kind of the uplift, right? It's the minor 6 to the relative 1 tonic before it jumps back and does some other stuff with like secondary dominance to play through circles of fifths and stuff. But like, that's the closest thing to musical resolution you get, other than, like the end of the song where you end on the minor key, the minor tonic again. It is just, yeah, that one measure speaks volumes, and that's just one measure of the song, right? So it's just like, that's my favorite measure, but every measure is good. The chord progression is also quite good. I'm sure, Hilary, you could talk to this. Like, this isn't just, a pop song. This isn't 1/4 minor 6/5. This isn't Pachelbel's canon. There is stuff going on here. We're playing with diminished. We're playing with dominant sevenths, secondary dominants, all over the place. So good.
It almost, like, thinking about what you said, I'm thinking about some of the like higher pitch portions of it, and it almost feels like, because of all these really cool things going on in the background, it almost feels like there's kind of less resolution in the melody when it's in those higher pitches. I don't know. It's really neat.
Yeah, some of the higher notes aren't like diatonic. They aren't within the scale that would go with the key that the song is written in. So,
right.
Yeah, it's intentionally crazy work. I love that. And it works so well. I mean, it is this very sort of like it's like the jazz strings vibe, right? Like lounge strings. Like the string orchestra has like this vibe to it that's just like, this is powerful, but this is also like the best thing that came out of like 1950s cinema,
Yes.
I was like, maybe no one else knows. I'm making crap up.
No,
I can't pretend to be an expert on 1950s cinema.
I'm
music.
all for jazz strings though.
Yeah. I mean, well, do you know who Laufey is? Laufey?
No.
She's like a pop artist, but she's done like a lot of songs in that style.
Oh, neat.
Okay.
Like where you bring that sort of lounge, jazzy string orchestra vibe to accompany your vocals. And done well, it's one of the most like decadently rich sounds in the world. But I think Mizuta didn't go overboard with it. It's sparse enough to fit a post-apocalyptic future.
Yes.
But just sparse enough, because it's not hopeless.
Right.
I mean, I think the one version of the song is called Hope. Or maybe it's not. I'm thinking of the character.
You're thinking of the character Hope.
Who I...
But, someone's got to think about him.
Yeah.
Actually, he's one of the characters I think did well in Lightning Returns.
Yes.
Yeah.
In multiple ways.
Yeah. Go ahead, Audra.
Well, I do feel like there is a thread of hope throughout the song that really does resonate with you, and man, I love the instrumentation. It's very haunting and gorgeous, and knowing more about it actually helps a lot too. Because I skipped over FF13 too, and just played Lightning Return. So yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
I don't feel bad in saying I think you've made a mistake. You need to go back.
I have felt that way. So
it is easily my favorite in the trilogy, but far and away it's my favorite. I like it from a time travel story perspective. I like it almost just as much as I like Chrono Trigger, right? Like that's how high I hold it.
Ooh, that's pretty high praise.
Yes, I stand by it. I mean, Chrono Trigger has better characters. There's a lot of reasons why Chrono Trigger is the superior game, but just in terms of the storytelling around time travel, 13.2 does a really good job. And it does a good job with environmental storytelling too. You go to the same place in 3 or 4 different timelines, and you're seeing, without even talking to an NPC, what's happening because of the things you did. And that kind of stuff is great. And I just think they laid it out really well too, in terms of scenario. And I just think it's a very evocative game. It brings out so much and utilizes the assets from the first 13 really well. Since they reuse, I'd say about half the environments you go to are reused in some form.
I have a copy of it, so one day I'll give it a try.
That, or they'll eventually do the whole trilogy HD remaster, and then you'll feel the need to play it on PS5 or Switch 2 or whatever.
Yep.
Well, I don't want to go so far as to say you made a mistake, Audra, but I would encourage playing it, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
When you do, if you do, I would like to hear your thoughts on it, because I won't go into details then, since you haven't, but some really, really odd and interesting choices in terms of where all the characters end in 13.2 and what they decided to do with them in Lightning Returns. I don't think jives at all. So you going the other way, I think it's going to be an interesting experience.
Okay, neat.
But I think we've talked about a lot of 13 today, so I think it's time to go to our next block. That's Pat.
Do you go from 13 to 14, or do you go from 13 to 12, or where do we go?
13 to 14 sounds too straightforward. I think we should go to 11.
We're jumping down to the 11s.
We're going to 11.
All right. What about Second Breakfast? What about Elevensies?
I honestly, when I read the block title, I almost did read Elevensies.
Well, now it's going to be Elevensies. Why call it 11s when it should be Elevensies?
So we're doing some Final Fantasy 11 tracks here. I have selected from Final Fantasy 11 the Treasures of Urhgan expansion, the battle theme Ragnarok. And then we're also getting a pick from Hilary.
So my first pick so far, my track is Xarcabard. It's also from 11, but it is an arranged version from Final Fantasy 11, music from the other side of Vana'diel.
All right, y'all, that was some FF11 goodness. We're going to start talking about Ragnarok. So Ragnarok is, even though it is the final boss theme for the third expansion, the Treasures of Urhgan, you will not find it, if you buy the Urhgan soundtrack, you will not find it on there, because when that soundtrack was published, like a third of the story had been like fully developed and like rolled out in the game itself. So I think there's like 4 or 5 songs from Urhgan that are tacked on to the end of the Wings of the Goddess soundtrack, which is the 4th expansion. So if you actually want to purchase the album that has this song on it, you want to buy the Wings of the Goddess soundtrack, not Treasures of Urhgan. Though honestly, I would recommend both. I think both of those expansion OSTs are very good. But Ragnarok is one of my favorite battle themes. I think the middle part is a little ho-hum, could have done more with it.
Mm-hmm.
But those opening 8 measures are just killer. Like, now there's how you start like a good arena battle theme. And this is like the final battle for the expansion. This is up against the whole plot line is, among other things, talking about this eternal struggle between Odin and Alexander, the summon monsters, Eidolon, Icon, Primals, whatever you want to call them. They're different in each game. But and in the storyline, Alexander comes out and he's all very unhappy with the state of things, and you have to calm him down and stop him from destroying stuff. So that's what this song is used for, is a very epic battle against a giant castle thing. And I don't know if it's as good as like Shadow Lord, which is Uematsu's final battle theme for the base game of 11. But I do think this is one of Mizuta's best battle themes in all of Final Fantasy XI. I'll just add as an aside, 17 years ago at Final Fantasy Fan Fest 2008 in Los Angeles, which I had the privilege of attending, Kumi Tanioka, who also wrote she wrote about a third of the base game's OST, and also recorded with the Star Onions and maintained some sort of affinity with 11. She was there and she did 5 songs as piano solo performances that have never been recorded. Like the FF11 piano collections are not arranged or performed by her. These were just like things she did in her head and on the side for fun and never got recorded. And she did a piano solo version of Ragnarok that was just mind-blowing, and it drives me nuts that there is no recording of it. I bet if you even asked her, she probably has forgotten how she did it by now. She's good. I mean, she recorded on she self-arranged half of or maybe almost all of the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles piano collection. So like, for people who don't believe me, like, she is very good. You can buy that album and see for yourself.
And it took us forever to get it. That one, Crystal Chronicles.
Yeah, it took 20 years.
Maybe eventually we'll get 11 too from her.
Yeah, if she did an 11 piano album, it would be amazing, because I think her performances are better than what's on those albums, and I like those albums. So yeah, I've always loved Ragnarok in its original form, but after I heard that, like at that convention, it's just sort of been solidified in my mind as like top tier, one of my favorite songs from all of 11.
Yeah, that's great. What a cool experience. I would love to hear heard that.
Anyone else want to talk about how awesome Ragnarok is?
I definitely also had copious notes about those opening bars and the da 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 da.
Yeah, it hits so hard.
Yeah, honestly, I think it can proudly stand beside some other favorite Final Fantasy battle themes. It's that good.
Yeah.
It is indeed awesome.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I didn't know the context or what kind of battle, but it does. It's one of those Final Battle themes that like it has a weight to it, but not. I don't know. It's just in a different way than. It's not really high energy, but it just feels like important with the way the instrumentation is. Like
there's the weight of the world, but not quite as.
Not as weight of the world as what Shanique Nicole does, because that's a better weight of the world.
Now I really want to go back and do a deep dive, because there really does seem to be a little bit of like 2 separate avenues of battle themes, especially if you look at 14 and 11, the we're saving the world versus summons are doing something.
That's kind of how that
summons
goes.
Are
one
doing
or the other.
Yeah, summons are upset. I don't know.
Yeah. It's either like we're on an adventure and we're going to be great and be awesome, or stand back and bask in the awe of like these eternal beings waging war.
Sorry, Pat. I know that sounds really good and dramatic, but summons are upset. It's really what's sticking in my head. Sometimes
they're upset.
It's the conciseness of it, I guess.
Yeah.
That could be the subtitle for 11, 14, and 16, I think.
Yeah.
Summons are upset.
Summons are upset. Oh.
Okay, thank you.
Good night, everyone.
You're taking my bit.
Oh, I did?
Good night, everyone.
I don't think you're allowed to leave, though, because you have to talk about Xarcabard. That's like, you're the next one up.
You gotta have to talk about your Star Onion friends.
Okay, well, Pat actually gave me a nice in with that one, because I was definitely going to mention Kumi Tanioka. I love learning the backgrounds about all the different bands that have surfaced and resurfaced and legally changed. And I've always I don't know, had a little bit of a soft spot for the Star Onions.
And that was before Pat explained what he explained off air.
Yeah. So that is reason number 1 why I picked the songs, because I wanted to make sure the Star Onions were on here somewhere. Reason number 2 is that album cover, which I said I was going to mention on the air, and I'm going to.
Of the serious Star Onion kid?
The overly serious Star Onion kid staring into your... Star Onion, Taru kid, staring into your soul with the onions and the onion haircut.
Yeah.
It's too good. Oh.
Yeah, and it should be noted, this is the second of 2 Star Onion albums. The first one, I think, was just called The Star Onions Music from the Other Side of Vana'diel or whatever. And then this one was called Sanctuary, FF11 Music from the Other. But this is the second Star Onions album. And I would argue it is the better of the two.
I would argue that as well. Musically, I also had to pick it because cello at the beginning. That cello at the beginning is amazing. It really sets a mood, is extremely expressive, well performed. And then just what it evolves into from there. Like, this song goes many different places, and I think it's all really well executed. You know, we've got changes in dynamics, tempo, instrumentation, almost different genres, and it's just really cool the way it all weaves together. So I like the versatility it shows, and I know it is arranged, but that's something that I like from Mizuta, and something that I wanted to show on the episode.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. I like too when you have these arrangement albums and stuff too, that they, because they're usually shorter, it lets them like do longer tracks and have the time to do all of that stuff, to experiment and like let things like really like sink in. So yeah, it was a great listen. I can't claim to have listened to much of the Star Onions, but I feel like I should change that.
Do it, or the Toro is going to be upset. Like the summons.
You think the stare's bad now? That it's going to stare. It's going to drill a hole through your soul with its little beady eyes if you don't listen. This is kind of like it's like a curse thing, like The Ring. You know, you gotta make someone else watch the VHS tape in a week, or it's going to be bad. So we need to get you to listen to the Star Onions, or we're screwed.
Wow, this really...
It escalated into full-on curse somehow.
Yeah.
Full of curses.
I would believe that there's a Taro somewhere with some curse power.
Shantoto?
Shantoto definitely has curse power.
The best
she's
Taro
comic
with
relief,
cursing
but
power.
also... Yeah. Oh, you know what that makes me think of, though? The Shantoto Ascension, the mini story, the final boss theme there is almost as good as Ragnarok. Oh, I should have picked that one. Yeah. Oh, that's a good song, too. I had forgotten about that. Maybe for another...
Yeah. They did a crossover with 14 many years ago. A brief one.
Did they include that scenario where Shantoto becomes a giant, or did they just include Shantoto?
No, Shantoto was there, though. I kind of wish they would bring that back, though.
Yeah. I mean, she's a great mascot for the game, and it is interesting how she can be so silly and lighthearted, but also like legitimately terrifying.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's impressive that she can do both. What album cover? Wait, was this on the Kawaii album cover where she's drinking boba tea?
Yes, SQ Kawaii is Shantoto drinking boba tea.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good album too. But yeah, regarding Xarcabard, that's also fitting for my dumb curse language, because this is the final dungeon of the base game. So as you're heading up to fight the Shadow Lord, Xarcabard is this big sort of labyrinthine castle up in the great snowy north that hasn't been fully explored. And I think the base version of this song on the OST is also quite long. It's probably looped once, but I think it's 5 or 6 minutes. Like, it's not a short piece. So there was plenty to work from the source material when they made this arrangement, though it is clear based on things like the tempo change that they did kind of bifurcate this into kind of like 2 different arrangements in the same song. But I dig it. It was a great choice. It really works for like this sort of like ragtag ensemble vibe that they're doing.
Yes.
Which is very like fitting for like who the Star Onions are as characters. Like, all right, this kid, pick up that instrument. You sound great. All right, you grab the cello. Great. You get a tambourine. Let's go.
No, we're not playing at the same time. Okay, now we're playing together.
Yeah. And I do, yes. And I think, most of the tracks on Sanctuary are very good. I think I had forgotten how much I enjoyed this one until you brought it back today.
Oh, nice.
I don't think I would have picked it as one of my favorites from this album. But giving it a close listen, I do actually think the musicality here is very, very good. And it does make me miss them. I like the other group, and we'll get to the other group as well. But if they did a third Star Onion album Starrington's album, maybe like to commemorate the eventual, maybe someday shutdown of this game. This is like one of the longest running MMOs like in the world now.
It's impressive.
Like, it predates World of Warcraft, so like, what else is there? Like, EverQuest 1 is still running, maybe?
Yeah.
Ultima Online, maybe?
RuneScape.
And like, that's it? RuneScape's evolved so many times, it's kind of a different
That's true.
So I don't know if I'd count it. But I mean, there aren't that many from the sort of turn of the century, turn of the millennium era that are still going, and 11 is going with paid subscription. Like, you can't play it for free. Anyone who's still playing it is paying like, I don't know, like $8 a month or something.
Yeah, and they still get some kind of updates. Like, it's not just like going stale.
Yeah. And I heard that when they did the crossover content in 14, that it drew so many 14 players back to like renewing their 11 accounts that it crashed the main server, the Asura server, on 11, because they didn't have the bandwidth for it anymore.
Wow.
Because they've merged so many servers and downscaled, because it's still, it's clearly in the end of its life. It's in its sunset. But how long is that sunset? I don't know, a year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, it's however long they want to keep it going.
I mean, maybe you do and don't know this, but like the Alliance raid in 14 right now is all Final Fantasy 11.
Yes, that's the crossover content.
Yeah, so like they've done Juno and Tandoria, and there's still one more to come. I'm excited to see what they pick for the third one. But that'll be, I think, like early next spring when they do the last tier.
I hope they do like either like an Abyssia thing or like the Iroha like end of the official story thing that they ran in 2015. We'll talk about Iroha more later.
Yeah, they've had that. I think they've brought that one back like 3 times now.
Is that the one we did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They brought that event back a few times.
The Iroha event?
Yeah. And actually, on top of, because of this, I think they did it when the first Alliance tier came out, and they have it running as of this recording, which probably means it might be over or near over when this posts, but they are doing like a discount thing right now with 14. Like, if you're a 14 player and want to go and try Final Fantasy 11, you get, is it a free month or something?
That must have been what helped it crash.
Oh, yeah. I could see that.
Oh, you get a discount. You get 30 days of free playtime, just because they do that for anyone. But then there's a 50% discount after that. So
that's tempting.
I've thought about it. I don't have time for 14, so I definitely don't have time for both. But every time I hear music or hear people talk about it, I'm like, I kind of want to see at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's at a state in the game where, I mean, there was a time where you couldn't complete anything solo, and now with the trust system and a lot of other like, conveniences built in, you can very quickly move through the base game solo. So
yeah.
If you wanted to be able to say to yourself, I beat Final Fantasy 11, like I saw the Shadow Lord go down, you could do that by yourself. I think people are like, there are speedrunning challenges where people do it in like 30 hours or less.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Which is crazy because, it definitely took me like 500 hours back in like 04.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm mostly curious just because it's like, it's not really a precursor to 14, but so many things in 11 do show up and did inspire things in 14. Like, I'm always seeing things like, oh, cool, that's a neat new monster. I'm like, no, that's actually from 11 too. So it's neat. It's neat. I like that they reference that stuff and keep it alive. All right. Well, speaking of nostalgia, we have a cool song coming up next. If we're ready for our third block.
Yep. So our third block.
Block 3.
I unilaterally decided this block is things that you will absolutely find in any RPG. And representing dragons is my first track, which is Dragon Riding from Final Fantasy The Four Heroes of Light.
Yeah. And then another common thing in RPGs, Audra.
Well, you gotta have a tower.
Gotta have a tower.
At least one. So my song is Heaven's Tower from Final Fantasy XI.
All right, so here we are getting some representation for Final Fantasy, the Four Heroes of Light. I know certain staff members say this is a very good but very overlooked game. It's also, from what I understand, in a lot of ways a nostalgic game. It kind of plays with tropes a little bit. And that's actually why I started looking through this soundtrack, and part of why I picked this song in particular is because Mizuta, when talking about his, methods of working, things like that, he talks about how older consoles had a lot of hardware restrictions, which, I'm sure we've talked about plenty of times here on Rhythm. But he looks at that as a challenge for a composer to create a strong, memorable melody. And I know, Pat, you kind of mentioned like Noel's theme, right? Mizuta's kind of spent some time like finding his melodic voice a little bit, and Noel's theme is a nice, strong melody. But I think a part of that is just part of that journey was him appreciating those constraints. And I think this soundtrack kind of exemplifies that. And this track, Dragon Riding in particular, I think exemplifies a very specific sort of like joyful but mysterious, floaty, traveling track with a strong melody. And I think this is a really good example of that. So there you have it.
Yeah, 4 Years of Light is a really interesting soundtrack and a very interesting project. I've gone back and forth with it. I remember there was a time where I loved the soundtrack, and then there was a time where I wanted to go back and revise my own album review of this, which I can't remember if I did this for RPG Fan or original sound version, but I do remember writing about it somewhere at some point. And it's what you're talking about with the technical limitations. This is a Nintendo DS game, and there are certainly some limitations there. The limitations primarily have to do with file size, though there is an additional potential limitation in terms of how much processing power the rest of the game is doing against the audio. So my understanding was he intentionally put limitations beyond what the DS already had onto himself to compose this soundtrack. It's almost like he got to step back in time and be like, oh, what would it be like if I had to write the soundtrack for Final Fantasy V, yep, right, on the SNES, right? Or a Game Boy soundtrack. What would it mean for me to have to do that? And I think as a writing exercise alone, it's great, I think, for any composer to go through. I think he came out of it on the other side better off for it. And right? I think this song is one of the stronger pieces. I do think this might be my favorite track.
Oh.
Yeah, I do like this one a lot. There might be a field theme early in the soundtrack that I also like as well. I can't remember the name of it. But this might be my favorite. I mean, a good flying theme is always worth celebrating. Mm-hmm. And I feel like melodically he was channeling his inner Uematsu in a big way, doing a piece like this. But it's not an airship theme, right? So it's a different kind of vibe. Good call.
Here be dragons. And they're pretty... I really think that it captures that nostalgic theme, too, that the game was going for.
Yep.
Wonderfully.
It's almost like a cross between an early Final Fantasy and a Mana.
Yeah. And I think it's neat too, because it's not just oh, this sounds like a chip tune, or it sort of sounds retro. It just has the sensibilities of an older song. And yeah, I like the idea of it being Final Fantasy or Mana or something. It really feels like a really authentic throwback to that time, which is fitting given what the game is. How it's sort of not retelling, it's a different spin on Final Fantasy, right, with the four heroes. Kind of a different spin on that and precursor to Bravely Default, if I remember correctly.
That's right.
In a way, it is, yeah. Which again, another four heroes game, but yeah. Yeah, this game always just eluded me. I never got around to it. I don't remember if I own it. I feel like I might have bought it and just didn't play it, but I'm glad we can still enjoy the music even if I had never got around to playing the game. So I don't know how I would like it, but the presentation is interesting enough that I do want to check it out.
I like Bravely. I want to go back and check it out.
Yeah.
Myself.
All right. Are we riding our dragon to that tower now?
Okay. Well, with Heaven's Tower, I played I dabbled in Final Fantasy XI, but never quite got too far past the starting areas, and I think I got my secondary job, and that was about it.
Did you start in Windurst, or what town did you start in?
Yes, I started in Windurst, which is why I picked Heaven's Tower, because I wanted that Windurst representation. I did have fun hanging out in Windurst a lot, so with my Link Shell buddies and everything.
Were you a Tarutaru?
No, I was a Mithra.
Oh, good choice.
Yes, did like that. But Heaven's Tower, you don't go to that area often enough in the game, but the music was it really stuck with me even after having stopped playing the game. Although now I'm tempted to go back. Maybe. But I've loved that piece since I first heard it. It's a gorgeous song. The instrumentation is lovely. There's like a serene and yet mystical sense to it. And there's a layering of the instrumentation as it goes that's it adds like a whole lot of underlying emotion without being like too in your face about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a slow build.
Yeah, it's a very slow build that there's a lot of depth to it too, and it stays with you.
It sounds... I mentioned this off air, which means nothing to anyone listening because they weren't here for that. But it sounds so simple. Like if you just listen to like a minute of it or something, like it sounds like there's so little to it, but also like that can go wrong, you know? If you have such a simple melody or even simple instrumentation, like it could a song like that could easily be repetitive or like, well, like good thing this isn't, you don't get to hear this one in the game a lot because like it would get old after a while, but then you keep listening and it's like, well, it doesn't fall into that trap, which is really impressive.
Or like arguably worse, just completely forgettable.
Yeah. But like even on the soundtrack, it's a 6.5 minute track, and at the risk of stealing what Hilary was going to talk about, oh no, am I?
Go for it.
Well, I'll talk a little bit. Well, we saw the A New World, one of the Final Fantasy concert series. So, Distant Worlds is like, big orchestra, like, lots of exciting songs. And then A New World is the more intimate side. So it's a very small ensemble, right? And
it's the chamber music approach.
Yes. And we saw it at this, we need to go back there, by the way. This is good podcast content, talking about our personal plans for the weekend. But we saw it at this great little theater in Connecticut. It was so small and so, well, intimate. But I might have heard this song at some point in my life, but this was they played one song from each Final Fantasy except 3 for some reason. But this was the representation.
Blasphemy.
I know. This was the representation for 11, and I was just entranced by it. Like hearing this one on the soundtrack is one thing, but after hearing it live, I became a huge fan of it.
And like
it was so perfect for that setting.
It's super interesting because gauging the audience during that performance, it was pretty enrapturing for, it seemed like everyone, really. Like it got quieter, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, it's even more impressive because, well, you know what I always like to talk about from that show, my outrage at the couple who decided later in the show when they played Final Fantasy I, they're like, well, we're gonna leave now. I'm like, really? You sat through an hour and a half of this and you leave at Final Fantasy I? Was that first or was it the other couple first? I think it was the Final Fantasy.
No.
I think it was the FF1 people, the prelude, the main theme or whatever it was.
It was the main theme.
It was the main theme. And I was like, wow, this is a time to leave. And then the other people, I mean, I get it. They were trying to get to their car, left during Xanarkand. I'm like,
of all things.
Xanarkand in this setting this is ideal for Xanarkand.
You must hate yourself if you're leaving that early.
Yes, but
if you're leaving during such a beautiful thing.
Even those people were enraptured by this song. No one left during this song. So it was really cool experience.
Hilary, is the Heaven's Tower the New World version of Heaven's Tower? Do you know, they're 3 volumes into that series. Have they recorded it?
They have. It's 3.
Okay, I was looking it up just now because I couldn't remember if it was on 3.
Oh my gosh.
3's the newest one, yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh yeah, it sure is. Track 9.
Oh my gosh. I have something to hunt down over the weekend.
Yeah, there you go. A New World 3.
Oh, me too now,
check
actually.
It out. Oh,
yeah, I mean,
They also put Sands of Amber on, which was one of my 14 picks from the last episode. I forgot that was on the album.
Wait, did you pick this
They
version?
made some good choices.
Oh, okay. Sands of Amber is a great song. I was very confused, but extremely intrigued at how they arranged that song for chamber.
Sands of Amber?
Yes.
Yeah.
I say that, like...
It was a bold choice.
Yeah, very bold choice. I think it worked out.
Whereas Heaven's Tower is much more fitting for that setting.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm very excited to hear the recorded version of it. Because I mean, the OST version, I mean, one thing I will say about it is I tend to forget that this is Naoshi Mizuta. And I think it's because 2 of my favorite environmental themes from 11 are this track, Heaven's Tower, and then the Gustaberg music. Gustaberg is the first area, like field environment monsters can show up here area outside of Bastok, which is the like human town. And the Gustaberg music is written by Kumi Tanioka, and I love that song. And it has that sort of minimalist plus build approach that is very similar to Heaven's Tower. So in my head, and also the instrumentation of Heaven's Tower makes me think a lot of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles.
Yep. Also
Kumi Tanioka.
Yep.
So it just surprises me when I listen to Heaven's Tower to remember that, oh yeah, this is part of the sort of the Naoshi Mizuta block of the base game of 11. And it really is one of his, I think on the base game, like the 2-disc OST before we start getting into the expansions. Heaven's Tower is definitely up there for his contributions to the game. Probably my favorite of his. I think I like it more than Xarcabard. Though I don't think Star Onions ever did anything with Heaven's Tower.
I don't think so.
Yeah, which is part of why I'm so excited to hear the new world arranged, because I don't think it's been arranged before.
Oh.
Not that I can think of, and I have like every FF11 album in my...
Wow.
I don't have...
Okay.
Now that it could possibly be on like one of those something SQ albums that I missed it, but other than that...
It's actually on Beer SQ. No, I'm just kidding.
I was about to say, no, it's not, because I listen to Beer SQ a lot. It's not there.
Beer SQ is great. Yeah.
I loved Beer SQ. I think it was one of their coolest albums. But yeah, really, thank you so much, both of you, for telling me about the New World recording, and thank you, AWR, Arnie Roth, Eric Roth crew, for what y'all do.
Yeah.
And we should get them on Rhythm.
Oh, yeah, I would love that. Have you heard of this? Like, no. It's like, okay, you're way too big for our show, but if you want to be a guest, we would love to have you.
We have had Janique Nicole, who has toured with AWR on the Near Orchestra concerts.
That's true. I feel we were very fortunate for that to happen.
We were. Janique is a very
fact.
Gracious guest. She is so cool.
She is.
Yes.
But yeah, maybe something to think about. I mean, they've done so much lately. I mean, Distant Worlds, like by the time Distant World 7 came out, I was like, I just finished listening to 6. Like, you know what I'm saying? They have been very active, and they have so many concerts running. They have 7 Rebirth and Near and the New World stuff and Distant Worlds. Like, they're always on the go all around the world. And yeah, they're some of the top tier in terms of like live music right now for video games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to hear this version of Heaven's Tower. I'm psyched now.
Me too.
Okay, well, we just got to get through one more block, and then you guys can go listen to whatever you want. Whether that's Heaven's Tower or Kelly Clarkson.
Heaven's Tower, Kelly Clarkson arrangement. I dig that.
Hey, you know what? If Xenoblade can show up in Days of Our Lives, then who knows what's possible.
If Janet Jackson can sample... Oh wait, Yoshimura.
Legend of Mana.
Yeah, Legend of Mana.
That's true.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
But we're not here to talk about Days of Our Lives. We are here to talk about Final Fantasy Grandmasters, apparently. Thank you.
We're talking about non-amigos.
Yeah. I have you to thank for introducing me to that this weird little soundtrack existed, but we will talk about that. My last song of the day is Clash of Wills, the 2023 OST mix. This is from Final Fantasy Grandmasters, an interesting little game that didn't last too long. This was composed by Mizuta and performed by the Non-Amigos. And Pat, what is your second song?
I have a song called, instead of Godspeed, it's called Goddesspeed, which is super awesome. And this is also performed by Non-Amigos. It was one of the Non-Amigos tracks recorded for the most recent Final Fantasy XI release. It's called Gifts from Vana'diel Prime Memories, and it's all the music that they've used in like the last, or created for the last 4 years of the game's sort of post-end super hard content. Nice. So yeah, you know, Non-Amigo is a Mithra, so she might be like,
Yes.
wow. No, she's more likely to hiss if you know Non-Amigo.
Yeah.
So Final Fantasy Grandmasters was a short-lived, I think it was like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. It was a mobile game, but it was meant to be like a mobile version or mobile experience of Final Fantasy XI, right, Pat? Like it wasn't just Final Fantasy XI, it was like a different spin on it, like kind of like cutesy characters, but in that same kind of world.
Yeah. Functionally and pragmatically, it was also meant to be sort of a mock-up / pilot for a project they were calling Final Fantasy XI R, which was going to be their attempt to put 11 onto mobile platforms. And when they scrapped that idea, because, well, for whatever reason they decided to scrap it, I don't know. They also closed Grandmasters around that time because it was kind of a proof of concept. That's the word I was looking for. Proof of concept.
Gotcha.
And it was small. They only wrote 10 songs for the whole game.
Yeah, that's pretty small. But I remember when the soundtrack came out eventually, because it was certainly not right after the game ended. It was years later, right?
It was 2023.
Yeah. I remembered your reaction. Like you were really excited about it.
I was shocked that they bothered to publish it. Yeah, I was very happy.
I know, like so often, like music for something like that. I mean, there's so much music that doesn't get published, even outside of Nintendo. But like something like that, you just would have like, well, they're never going to publish that music. Like, why would they? That the game, I wouldn't say it failed, but obviously it was so short lived, and it was just like you said, probably some kind of experiment. So. Really great, though, that they did release it later because there's some cool stuff on there, including this one, which was just a really fun... I guess I should have asked this before we started, but it's Clash of Wills on 11. Is this an arrangement of an 11 song for Grandmasters?
No? This is originally composed for... Grandmasters. It's called the 2023 OST mix because it is a little longer and it comes to a finality better than what it was originally used for, which I believe it was a trailer. It was music for the trailer when it first launched.
Oh, it's just so like lively and exciting. I think, the little bit I've seen of this version of the game, like, because I'm guessing they were going for a different audience, like the mobile gaming audience. Like it is a friendlier face on 11. Like it was definitely a cuter take, mostly more colorful, kind of animated looking. But just I love just the sense of adventure and just the liveliness of this song. I said lively already. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's just it really like gets you excited to jump into this world. But it's well, I guess a little happier than you would expect because of the tone they were going for. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, a really cool discovery. And just because I knew how like notable it was that the soundtrack even released, I really wanted to bring something from it on here. So thank you for introducing me, Pat.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, there's a handful of great tracks on Grandmasters. This is the opening track, I think, on the soundtrack. And yeah, I'd say there's 3 or 4 songs that really stand out. And so Nanaa Migos is kind of it's a group or band in the same way that Star Onions is, and it's different people than who worked on Star Onions, other than Naoshi Mizuta is on both, right? And the makeup is a little different because there is a strong emphasis on piano and violin. In Nanaa Migos, this kind of the vibe they go for is very sort of bright, brilliant, sometimes jazzy, but more often straight tempo. So sort of like inspirational, but also danceable. I think the violin is doing a lot of great work on Clash of Wills.
Yep, sure is. Mizuta was bass guitar in the Star Onions, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yes. Yeah, bass is a good place to be when you're doing arrangement for the music, because you're sort of guiding the chord progression and having that foundation and then letting other people do their crazy stuff. And yeah, the violin is really good on pretty much every Non-Amigos track. Of which, if people are interested, there is a Non-Amigos arranged album, and then there's also, if you look up like Seekers of Adeline Plus, Forever Today, and then both of the new Gifts from Vana'diel albums. There's Rhapsodies of Vana'diel, and then the one I'm covering, Prime Memories. And then Non-Amigos also recorded 3 or 4 songs for Final Fantasy Grandmasters. So if you want to hear all that artists, that groupings stuff, that's where you go to find it. And it's all, I think it's like some of the coolest stuff out there. It's just really, it's different from a lot of the other game music that's produced these days.
I love that. And thank you for letting me derail recalling what instrument Mizuta was playing. I also for some reason get a bit of like an SRPG vibe from this song, and I like it. I'm not sure why.
I can see that, actually, now that you've mentioned it. It could be like a good kind of SRPG battle theme, maybe.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out exactly why and how it fits.
I think maybe one thing it kind of reminds me of is some of the newer Fire Emblem soundtracks.
Yes.
Newer Fire Emblem has used violin similarly and has that sort of very punctuated, syncopated, straight rhythm.
That's true.
Yeah, so that might be it. In fact, just the trailer for that new one that was at Nintendo Direct, though that was more of sort of a samba Latin flair track, that was also quite good music. What's the name of that one that's coming out?
Fortune's Weave.
Fortune's Weave, yeah. That's,
wow, didn't miss a beat, Audra.
Thank you, Audra.
Yeah, you're on it.
I might be looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't played a Fire Emblem in like a decade, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be on for Fortune's Weave. That looked so good.
Yeah, Mike and I mean, not really that much into Fire Emblem, but we found ourselves going, this is interesting. This is a little different from what they've done.
It's this, the setting and everything looks really cool. Really, not what I think anyone expected.
Anyway,
I guess we better do that.
Maybe to get Non-Amigos on a Fire Emblem, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say this is a good time to be like, well, I guess we need to do a Fire Emblem episode.
I mean,
we should. I will also say, if you go to our music reviews section and look at Fire Emblem, we got like 4 albums reviewed out of like 20 games and a bazillion arranged albums.
Yeah.
It is I have a lot of personal shame that I haven't reviewed more Fire Emblem music. There's a lot, and there's actually some really good stuff that I know I'm overlooking. But
I'll get on that.
Maybe Fortune's Weave will be the thing that really breaks through for me.
That's so funny. You say get on that, and I was just about to say you can't do everything.
Oh.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can, Hilary.
Musically speaking, Pat proves that he can. So
right.
I was encouraging. I wasn't.
Yes.
Yeah.
I appreciate your encouragement, Mike.
In this case, get on it wasn't like me being demeaning. It was being encouraging.
Him saying get on it is like him saying Goddesspeed, Pat Gann.
There we go.
Yeah.
Did you like that?
I did. Yeah. Let's talk about Goddesspeed.
Yeah, Goddesspeed, obviously, I wouldn't say when you hear one Non-Amigo song, you've heard them all, but they definitely have a style. And so when you listen to these 2 songs, Clash of Wills and Goddesspeed back to back, you can kind of see like how they present music, especially their sort of more up-tempo music. So Goddesspeed is a battle or sort of instance event music for a raid style event called Sortie that was added in August of 2022. And so that's why it's part of the Prime Memories album, which covers later entries to Voracious Resurgence and sort of fun little updates that the dev team have rolled out between 2019 up through I guess when this was released in 2023. And Goddesspeed is one of the newer songs in the game because they really roll out a handful of songs every 6 to 12 months. And so this is part of the newest collection of music, and even then it was one of the last things recorded before they published Prime Memories. And it definitely has that sort of adventurous, upbeat vibe that I associate not just with Nanaa Mihgo as a character, she of Winderstein, Mithra, cat burglar fame, but also sort of the like tradition of heroines through the 11 series. So if you think of like Lion and Prish and Nashmira, all the way down to why am I forgetting her name? We were just talking about her scenario.
Shintoto?
No.
Iroha.
Yeah, Iroha. They all sort of have this sometimes cheerful, but always really sort of like strong will. In fact, I would say someone I really tie to the sort of Nanaa Mihgo sound is Lillicet, the protagonist of Wings of the Goddess. She introduces the dancer class, and Nanaa Mihgo's the first Nanaa Mihgo's track ever recorded was around Lillicet. And Nanaa Mihgo's mom, who I can't remember her name, but she is also like a prominent story character in Wings of the Goddess, because that game takes place 20 years in the past. So there's all this cool stuff. The lore is so good, and the character representation is so good. And so for Goddesspeed to kind of take all of that tradition and all of those sort of memories and impressions, and I hate to say the word again, but vibes, and pack it into a song like this and make it fun. I think part of the sortie event is you actually do get to challenge at the end of the sort of dungeon or raid. The boss or bosses at the end can be the different female protagonists that I was talking about. So it's sort of a like test your skills against us. So it's like not like, oh no, demons are coming to destroy the world. It's like, show us how strong and cool you are, whoever you are, and then you go and do it. Nice. So it's a really cool event, and the music I think really fits it well.
That is cool.
Yeah, I really like the instrumentation here. It kind of almost reminds me of like Falcom's work with some of the later Trails games even.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
And I mean that in a high praise.
The use of violin, I can see a through line.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned like recent Falcom in my review of Prime Memories, because I do think the way that violin just sort of, the way they make it really just sort of shine, it's just got that like pristine gloss over it. It always makes me think of like the Trails in the Sky main theme, and also the battle theme, like Rock on the Road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could hear that. The violin is like definitely the star here for me. That was really great.
Yeah, but good call on Falcom.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Are we ready to wrap up?
Let's do this thing.
Yes, let's wrap up and, wish all our listeners Goddesspeed on their way.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You were like, look, if you're not going to make the reference, I'm going to do it. I set this up for you, but whatever. I'll take the wheel now.
No.
That's fine. Thank you for that setup. All right. So on this episode of Rhythm Encounter, we had a couple debuts. I'm sure if we break down the specific content, we had a few others, but I can only specify a couple. And mostly it was the Treasures of Urhgan expansion for 11 and Final Fantasy Grandmasters. Well, weird that a short-lived mobile game with a soundtrack of 9 songs or whatever has never been on the show before, but it never has been. So, yeah, those were our debuts. Although, again, a lot of Final Fantasy XI has not been on the show before, so it still felt largely new. So, thank you, everyone, for your great picks today. Coming up next on Rhythm Encounter, we are doing a new music episode. We've been doing those all year. This one is for the fall or summer into fall period, so July through September. Pat, you're going to join me on that one. Usually Hilary and I do those, but Hilary wanted some other people to have a shot, so you and I and Matt are going to be talking about music from the current quarter.
Yay, Matt. We love Matt.
Yeah. And then after that, we're going to do a recent suggestion. I think it was Rob's idea for like electronic music, electro pop, stuff like that.
Ooh.
So I already can think of something I'll bring on that one. So that'll be fun. So look forward to those in the next several weeks. We're actually going to be off because this episode is posting a week early. We're taking 2 weeks off for Random Encounter. But in the meantime, if you have thoughts on this, if you want to share a Final Fantasy XI story or anything else, you can reach the show and me at music@rpgfan.com. And how can people reach you, Pat?
PGANN, PGANN at rpgfan.com. If you email me, I will see it and I will probably reply. And I'm also on the social medias. I'm on both Twitter and Blue Sky as Gameadactyl. That is the word game, the letter O, and dactyl. Good luck with that.
And how about you, Audra?
Audra B at rpgfan.com. And I am not on the social medias.
And Hilary.
Best way to reach me is Hilary at rpgfan.com.
Cool. All right. Well, as I mentioned, we do have some other podcasts on the RPG Fan Podcast Network outside of Rhythm Encounter. And honestly, you probably already know them if you know our show as well. But I always encourage you to check out Random Encounter and Retro Encounter. Random Encounter's most recent episode was myself and Hilary and Jono talking about Bitmap Books' newest release, 50 indie games that changed the world. Really fun episode. I know you and Jono like doing your book club episodes, so it felt cool to be a part of that with you.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. You can also actually find my review of that same book on the site now at rpgfan.com. So go check that out as well. Over on Retro Encounter recently finished up their game journal, 2-part game journal on Drakengard. Before those episodes aired, I had been saying, I know Zach and some others had never played Drakengard as much of a fan as he is of Yoko Taro. And I was like, well, I hope he likes it because I know that game is an acquired taste. And he didn't. But definitely check out those episodes for everyone's experience because it sounds like it was a very varied experiences from the whole panel. So, check that out. And then actually as a follow-up to the 2 Drakengard episodes, their next episode coming up is an episode just on Yoko Taro's work in general. And I think, Pat, you said you're going to be on that one with them?
Yes, I'm super psyched. I don't get on to the Retro Encounter panels often enough, and I will be on that one, and I'm very psyched.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. They only do those kind of episodes every once in a while, but this is a good one. Like the people who are on that episode are the people who should be on that episode. So
I think we're the Taro heads.
Yeah. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one. You can find RPG Fan on most social media, usually as RPGFan.com, except on Blue Sky, where we're just RPG Fan. You can find us links to those in our show notes. You can also find us on Twitch, YouTube. We have a Discord. Our website is rpgfan.com, along with news, features, podcasts, reviews, and lots of other great content from our immensely talented staff. We have the shop at rpgfan.com/shop. So if you want to get your RPG Fan merch fix, whether that's a mug, a phone case, a pillow, I think we sell pillows, or our newest edition, which is RPG Fan branded shorts. I know we're going into the fall season, but hey, if you want to wear shorts all the time like I do, then get some shorts. So RPG Fan,
comfy at home. Yeah,
rpgfan.com/shop for all your shorts needs. I gotta work on that tagline a little bit. Finally, if you enjoyed the show, we would appreciate any support you could give us in terms of likes and sharing and subscriptions, wherever it is you get your podcasts. we would appreciate that. And it closes out today. Pat has a very interesting bonus track for us. So what are we ending the show with, Pat?
Well, we are ending at the beginning because this is Naoshi Mizuta's first full soundtrack with Square, and maybe his first full soundtrack of any kind, I think. This song is called Distorted Evolution. It's one of the final tracks off of Parasite Eve 2, which is a soundtrack that generally most people don't like, and I get it. But there's a couple of good songs, and Distorted Evolution is one of them. So I hope you all enjoy it.
Well, thanks, Pat. I don't know Parasite Eve 2 remotely as much as the first one, so I'm looking forward to it myself. All right.
You know what to say, Mike.
I mean, Hilary kind of already did it, but if you want me to do it again, I can do it. All right. Well, we're going to leave you with Distorted Evolution, and until next time, everyone, Goddesspeed.
Yay! Taru power!
Can we talk about the overly serious Taru on some of the album covers here?
Isn't it great?
Like on which one? On yours?
Yes.
They will murder you with their eyes. Well, the star onions, do you know that, like, the star onions are actually, like, just... They're in the game. They're NPCs in
Are
Windurst.
they the little kids?
Yeah, they're kids.
Star Onion Brigades.
The
Yeah.
Star Onion Brigade.
Aww.
It's a bunch of weird little kids that are playing like Scooby-Doo adventures, and you can go on like fun, easy side quests to earn minimal rewards. And that's what they named the band after, is those little kids. But they make them in some of the artwork look a lot more badass, or like they matter more than in the game. In the game, they just don't matter at all.
I mean, I'm going to mention this. Sorry, I can't not.
Yeah. It's funny. There is a little group of kids. I think it was in a Realm Reborn. They didn't like keep up with it, but in 14 they did something like that. I forgot if they called themselves something though.
Also, this Totoro has an onion haircut.
Yep. Yeah, they have little onion helmet style haircuts.